hentai should be separated the same way we separate things. You have double X and triple X hentai or pornographic shops, and you do not mix that with regular Hollywood shops. Yeah, sorry about that.
That's right.
And even the major websites don't do that. They mix their hentai and their regular anime together. So therefore, it's easier for a child to get the hentai flicks. And when the child says, "Where'd you get that?" "Oh, I got this from this website." Boom, all anime is banned. Just like, for instance, what in my store and elsewhere, talking to people at cons, when they put Shin-chan, which is garbage can type humor, at 11 o'clock, the parent says, "What sort of garbage are you watching?" And they would ban the entire Adult Swim. Then they go, Adult Swim, "Oh, the ratings are down. We have to cancel our late night and afternoon shows, and we're not eliminating anime from our afternoon and evening programming." That's what they did. Whether or not they knew what they were doing that hurt anime by putting the Shin-chan at 11 o'clock so that the parents wouldn't let anybody watch any anime after that. And that's 80% of most people's introduction to anime is through Adult Swim.
So you think parents are actually taking proper precautions when letting their child buy the anime?
No, but when they find out after the fact. But how can a parent take proper precautions, like with the Shin-chan issue or with getting things from websites, if the website owners and the anime network owners aren't doing their job to work with the flow of parental interests?
Yeah. So, like, what do you think about, like, probably not part of your jurisdiction, but just one last question. What do you think about the furry community and their problem that fits into the anime problem as well with hentai?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, let's get that question. Do you think parents like the rating system that anime has? Like, if you look on a box that says 13 and up and it says sexual content in it, do you agree with those terms, or do you think it could be up more with the rating?
I think that it provides the worst fears, because when you have quote-unquote sexual contact, yes, but if you're 13 years old and boys are discovering girls and girls are discovering boys, and it's about building human relationships and the implied sexuality of those human relationships in a positive way, all the title does is give people the worst fears. And since they want to play it safe, and they're listening to their preacher or their neighbors or everything, or the guy who just says, who's looking at the pervy or negative side of things instead of the relationship side, it hurts. And it misrepresents everything.
So, in all, the final question. What do you think anime is going to do to improve on some of their anime that parents might not like to see in some of them?
There's nothing that the anime industry can do. I think that after a while, certain things will subside. I think that, like you had Full Metal Alchemist and Inuyasha on a few shows, I think that there's some very, very strong shows that companies says, hey, we're going to get good ratings with these. They'll put them on, and then people will dip back into the anime scene. I think that it takes a recognition that teens, young adults, even preteens need a very strong film representation that's not being serviced by Hollywood. They need their issues, their feelings, their emotions, their discoveries in our world today to be represented in a way so that they know it's better to see the mistakes being written on screen instead of having to discover them themselves or through their friends. For instance, one of the longest running gags since the early 80s has been when a guy gets too fresh, she takes out a mallet from what's called hair space out of thin air and whacks him one. Well, if a guy gets too fresh, she has the right to say no, even with the use of a very large mallet, period. And that's what it's all about. It's about relationships, discovering, going through the world in a way that works. How do they make their lives function in a screwed up world that actually separates the teenagers from the adults in a way that was never done before. Okay, I'm older. In the even 60s and 70s and early 80s, a person could get a job, get married, and one would support the other while they were going through college at 18. Most of my friends whose permanent relationships were established were done in high school, and they got married shortly after high school. Now you can't do that until after college. How do you have the human needs of relationships represented? That is a tough call, but we have to respect everybody, including the younger ages. What I mean by younger, I mean 22 to 12, in a way that helps them be respected as equals.
Thanks very much, man.
Anime is a representation of Hollywood taken to the higher level, the same way the Japanese took cars, American car concepts, and they were rusting in the parking lots and said, we can build a better car. 12 episodes, 24 episodes, 3 or 4 TV seasons are a continuous book with every episode a chapter. So that you're dealing with dramas, you're dealing with comedy, you're dealing with comedy and drama at the same time in a way that does work. And that's from the comic point of view, the manga point of view. There's always going to be strong manga out there that tells a story, and if they want to have that story done, then you're going to have the anime, and it's proofed, the story is proofed through the manga or through a novel, goes into an anime, and then you have a way that the anime industry, it may slow down, but it will never die as long as there's creative talent out there who wants to be done. After all, much of the early anime in the 80s and early 90s, there were quite a bit that was done by just a few people as an independent film art with just short OVAs and movies that actually got it stretched out into longer series later.